So we are all ready to go. On time. Amazing. So now maybe I will track Maria tonight.
Okay.
So then I have to pin you. How am I doing this? Yeah, good. Okay, so welcome everyone. We have a few questions for this evening. And the first is becoming more conscious of how I am a pulsation of change in a changing environment of diverse manifestations. I often feel disturbed by the excess of stimuli which I fuse with. Then I cut off and enclose myself in a narrow view. How to avoid this happening? So this is a very interesting kind of question. If I relax my habitual reliance on the framework of interpretation I normally use, so that my approach to the world is not led by my thoughts, but I have more sense of the immediacy of how I'm responding to what is occurring. There's a lot going on. And it's too much. So there's a tension here between my usual capacity to impose pattern and shape and my desire to open and allow the flow of co-emergence. Because I'm used to being part of what is occurring. So I fuse into these states, but there are so many and they're so diverse. The key thing is to avoid fusion without standing apart. That we're with whatever is occurring. We offer our presence with what is here. And what is arising for me, as me, because it's very intimate, it's very close. This is what's occurring. It's just passing through. I merge into it if there are two things which can be merged. The object merges into the subject. So sometimes we can see clouds moving in the sky and they go at different speeds and one can fuse into another. But no matter how many clouds there are, they don't fuse into the sky. The sky remains open no matter how many clouds are coming. So in the teachings for the meditation, we say, don't go forward into what hasn't arisen yet. Don't go back into what has already arisen and gone. Stay open and available for the showing of what is occurring, but with equanimity. The openness of the mind, this is our original face or the ground of our being. This open, spacious presence never changes. But the energy that moves through this space is always changing. So as we manifest in our being in the world with others, the patterns of our presence or our energy is shifted and changed by the multiple interactions. So here, how we understand ourselves is very important. The more defined I have as the more definition I have as my sense of self, this is me, I know who I am, I know how I am, then this seemingly stable reference point appears to be under attack by these endless changing forces all around me. So according to the teaching, the key thing is to see my stability is my openness, my ungraspable presence. I'm here, I'm aware that I'm here, but when I look for the one who is here, as if this was a stable, enduring self, I can't find anything. Our breathing is changing, our posture, gesture, tone of voice, and flowing through us are thoughts, feelings, sensations, memories. I am not a thing. I am a flow of experience. And this flow is moving and changing with the flow of experiences all around me. Movement is moving. And I, as manifestation, as this arising aspect, am moving with the moving. I can't stabilize this. I can ignore that this is how it is. I can claim to be I, me, myself, I'm always the same, this is who I am. But this is a self-deception. Because the actuality is, I don't know how I'm going to be in 1 minute from now. Events occur and I'm caught up in responding to them. So the more we can see that I am the non-duality of these two aspects, the stillness of the unborn, aware openness, and the ceaseless movement and change of my participative aspect, which is whatever is arising. So if I open to movement, but I'm still trying to hang on to a fixed sense of self, I'm going to get overwhelmed. There's too much going on for me to make sense of. For example, if you go into the park and look at a big tree, you can see the tree. It's just there. You see the whole thing. So now start to count the leaves on the tree. You're counting up and up. You lose your place. It's impossible. Oh, it's the same. When we open ourselves to what is here, the whole tree comes, the whole of the flow of life experience is running. But if I try to make sense of it, I have to rely on selective attention. There are times when what's required is selective attention. But if we want to practice according to the Dzogchen tradition, this is not our kind of home base. This is not where we rest ourselves in the midst of the ever-changing field. So if we get overwhelmed, as the questioner suggests, we tend to retreat into stabilizing ourselves in an isolated, diminished state. So we want to recenter ourselves in the middle way, not too tight, not too loose. We have to be loose so that we can receive everything, but not get carried away. And we have to have some tightness or precision so that we are with the emerging details of this moment. So in general, we need to go back and read the descriptions of the 3 statements of Garab Dorje, and then relax and open to our mind and raise the 5 questions. Does the mind have a shape and color? Does it have a size? Does it come from somewhere? Does it stay somewhere? Does it go somewhere? And very gently, we open ourselves to our mind with these questions kind of hovering in the air. If we didn't have a mind, we wouldn't have any experience. The mind is functioning. So how is it? We live in a world which, in our normal dualistic perception, we take to be full of things. So, is the mind a thing among things? As long as we are sure that we exist as someone, somewhere, we are wrapped within the cocoon of the individual self-entity. If we want to awaken to the actual living presence of how we are, then we have to enter into the non-duality of ungraspable openness and ceaseless movement. Only by resting at ease in openness can the unpredictable, unexpected movements and shifts of what is arising be allowed to come and go without interference. We can think about ourselves. This is who I am. These are my tendencies. I don't like these, so I want to try to change them. So you can deal with yourself as if it's a thing, or yourself can deal with your behavior as if it's a pattern of things. But that's not awareness. That's not the mind itself. The clarity of the mind is essentially the capacity of the mind to show everything. It's empty, and so it doesn't impede any pattern. And all the patterns that arise are the patterns of the emptiness of the mind. So whenever we feel battered by life, this is a sign that we are trapped in our dualistic interpretation. Then we can go back to the Guru Yoga, relax and release, and open to the open. There is no way to avoid life being unpredictable. But each moment of life is arising and passing through. So rather than trying to manage and manipulate and control, we open and relax and release. Then we don't accumulate experience and don't get overwhelmed. Okay, then the second question is, I have experienced that my intentions expressed in prayer are fulfilled. How does our mind and intention influence reality? Well, if we have a notion of reality as something fixed and full of definite entities, it's very difficult. So what both the view and the meditation help us to open to is the fact that I don't live in a world of things, and I also am not a thing. So my intention is is an organized patterning of the flow of my movement towards the environment. Okay, so my intention is a movement of energy into the field of movements of energy. So maybe we're praying and say, oh, Buddha, help me, I really want to get this job. I exist. This job would be the very best job for me. Please let me have it. So this is a reification, a solidification, and a separation of the subject and the object. But when we pray with faith, Buddha, you know everything, you see everything. This is my wish. It is a wish arising in my mind. This job is an idea arising in my mind. Please bless me so that these ideas of myself and the job come together. Now, ideas can meet ideas because they occupy the same bandwidth of vibration. So faith is a way, excuse me, faith is a way of harmonizing self and other through the energetic quality of intention. In fact, I, as a subject, and my intention as a pattern, and the object as another pattern are three modes of interconnected energy. So by having faith and trust in the dependent origination of all phenomena, we reduce the intensity of our sense that self and other are isolates. And of course, the feeling tone of devotion is also one of linking. And so this mood of trust and openness allows us to engage, but maybe for just a short period of time, in the undivided whole, which is the basis of our life. This is why in the tradition they're saying, don't get caught up in worry and doubt, because although when we feel anxious about something, it's a kind of intimacy, it's also very separative. I'd like to get the job, but maybe I won't. I've been unlucky before. I don't know what will happen. Thoughts like that take me back into myself as someone looking out with longing. So when we find ourselves hesitant, uncertain, we need to enter into the practice, and especially the practice of devotion is very good. We say Buddha or Padmasambhava, you have promised to help everyone. Well, here I am one of the everyone. So you promised to help me. You're the big man writing blank checks. I'm the little man and I'm writing, give me the job on the check. So when I pray, I take the check and I put it in the bank of emptiness. And this dissolves all obscurations and obstacles between me and getting the job. There are some times and situations in our life when focused thinking and analytic thinking is very important. But when we are under the power of habitual thinking, these thoughts separate us from the actual, always unified field of our emergence. When you're born, you emerge out of your mother's body into a world that's already functioning. That is to say, your mother and father in this world have sex, and then the conception occurs in your mother, and you grow in your mother and then come out into the world. We are always within the field of occurrence. We are connected with everything in this field of occurrence. And so when we pray and we call on the Buddhas to help us, we are activating the energy of belonging. So, of course, it's also important to make sure that we channel this energy for an ethical purpose. Okay, so in the next question we have, when trying to stay with anger without merging and simultaneously letting whatever arises flow, I experience self-judging thoughts, such as you shouldn't, or that's not nice. This quickly leads to physical discomfort, like a subtle form of irritation. Is this a sign that I have merged with the reaction to the judging thoughts? So the question begins with saying, I'm trying to stay with this anger without getting lost in it or merged in it. We're usually angry about something. If you do a lot of wrathful deity practice, you can get used to simple anger as an energetic arising, which is free of subject and object. But generally, anger arises for us due to causes and conditions. We have some expectation of how life should be, and we are frustrated or thwarted by an occurrence. This is not right. So it's very difficult, as long as we are a subject in a world of objects, not to be judgmental about the things that spoil our plans. Because, of course, there are two aspects of this. The first is, it's annoying when something we want doesn't happen. The second aspect is when the event that annoys us sets in motion the thought, it's not fair, this should not happen. Children tend to be very sensitive to this, because it's very shocking when bad things happen. Why does no one stop it? But it happens. So there is both the immediacy of the upsetting stimulus, and also a sense that the structure of the world that maintains our safety has been shaken. So we see this with war, with violence, with cheating people, that somebody will go into our computer system and take some data or take money from bank accounts. We would like the world to be safe and secure. But in the Tibetan language, our world is called Dzogchen. And Dzogchen means the place where everything falls apart. It's the site of collapse, the site of destruction. So it's quite a lot of evidence that that's a good name for where we are. So these bad things shouldn't happen. But now I'm getting upset. And I'm thinking, I shouldn't be like this. So I'm tensing up. Things are not the way I want them to be. How can I open to the actual shape of my life? It is like this, without attributing value like good, bad, right, wrong. It is how it is. People lie, people cheat. Maybe we also know that we lie and we cheat. The world is not in the palm of my hand. So what will I do with the things I don't like? I can't change the behavior of others. And when I experience what they do, I can't seem to control my own reaction. Maybe the problem is more fundamental. It's the problem of duality. So we often see the 5 poisons being highlighted as the perverse energy of duality. So the first poison is mental obscuration or assumption or reificatory belief. And from this solidification of subject and object, a positioning in which I see I am a thing, you are a thing, everything is a thing, separate, individual. From this flows the sense of there are some things I like, and so I have desire. And there are some things I don't like, so I feel aversion or anger or hatred. And then I appreciate myself, so I feel proud. I am this person, this important person, this enduring person. And then we feel jealousy, that what I have is unstable because it can be acted on by other people who are interested in my partners or my money, my success. So the purification in the tantric system, the purification of these 5 poisons is the 5 wisdoms. The wisdom is the intrinsic knowing which reveals the actual quality of these poisons. So the purification of mental dullness, the first poison, is the original knowing or the intrinsic knowing of the Dharma Dhatu. The Dharma Dhatu means the space of phenomena. It means all phenomena, whether we think of self or other, faraway countries, our own shoes, whatever occurs is within the space of the unborn awareness. Everything is the expression of the open, empty ground. This is the most important of the 5 wisdoms. It is the flavor of the first statement of Garab Dorji. Awaken to how you actually are. Awaken to the ground of your presence here, which is open and empty. Yes, awaken to the ground which is presented in Garab Dorji's first statement. All the teachings point in this direction. The emptiness of the ground is inseparable from how the ground shows itself. That is to say, what I call I, me, myself is not a fixed thing, but is an emergent patterning changing with circumstances. So, from this clarity, when there is a provocation which gets to me, and there is the arising of anger, the provoking object, what somebody says or does, is the play of emptiness. The one who is impacted by this, I, me, myself, is also empty of self. But the interaction of these empty patterns gives rise to the anger, which is also an empty pattern. When in the open, empty sky, big storm clouds move together, we get thunder and lightning. The clouds are without substantial existence. The thunder goes boom and vanishes. And the lightning goes whoosh and vanishes. So there is appearance with an impact and no substance. So if we experience this in ourselves, I am a cloud. This cloud has hit my cloud. Ow! The feeling tone is here, but it's not the proof of anything. It's not the proof that the other person is bad, nor is the intensity of the angry feeling a proof that they really exist, or that I really exist. Moment by moment, the interaction of empty patterns generates the world as we know it, arising and vanishing. But when we are not able to relax and open, the impact of the event we take to be negative is occurring to me. I am upset and disturbed. And this is not just a thought, not just a feeling, but it's a sensation. So it's manifesting in the body. So the question describes this as a physical discomfort. I'm aroused. I'm off balance. I can't settle. So then clearly we have entered into a position taking. What has happened shouldn't happen. It's wrong. And the more these kind of thoughts arise with their feeling tone, the more substantial they feel. This is really bad. And then I feel I want to do something. I might want revenge. How dare you do that? So the unsettledness of the anger is intensifying the duality of subject and object. So in the general Mahayana teachings, they see anger as something very dangerous because it can quickly destroy thousands of years of accumulated virtue. But we are more concerned to see how to not confuse intensity with substantiality. So in the thunderstorm, there is an intensity of energy and the wind is moving the clouds together, but there is nothing substantial there. So when I feel, I hate you, the intensity of the feeling is actually like the thundercloud. You are an appearance without any substantial essence. You have no inherent existence, and neither do I. But I am real, and you are real, and you are wrong, and you've hurt me, I hate you. So this is how we get lost. That the intensity of what is happening seems to be proof of its reality. But all manifestation is illusion. It's the movement of phenomena, of appearance within the Dharma Dhatu, the infinite emptiness of everything. So the main way to deal with this kind of situation is to go back and look at the 5 questions, sit in open practice, and observe how you solidify your experience. So if I say, I'm really upset about what you said yesterday. You were completely wrong, you were cruel and unkind, and I don't like you. We can all understand what this feels like. But where is yesterday? What am I talking about? I have built up this mountain of feelings and sensation, but it's resting on yesterday, which is gone. It is insubstantial. It's like a dream, an illusion. We talk about the past and the future as if they existed. We think, I'm here now, this is me. But this particular pattern, which I take to be the truth of me, here I am, this is vanishing. Next moment, something else comes. So when we look, we have to really look. In the past, the present, and the future, we find no substance. But we find contractions, differentiation of vibration. So if you listen to someone playing the flute, a piece of bamboo or metal has holes in it. The person's fingers are moving up and down, opening and closing the holes. In the breathing, putting wind into the flute. Nothing substantial. Simply the vibration set up by the length of the tube through which the air can vibrate. And yet, as we hear the sound, we have feelings and emotions are raised. We can feel sad or happy. So we are patterns of emptiness dancing with patterns of emptiness. We are like a rainbow falling in love with a mirage. So when you start to experience your life in this way, you see that the intensity of the anger is not due to the provocation of the other, but rather it arises from your own solidification and reification. Okay. Then another question. I have difficulty integrating the experiences, recollections of rigpa, emptiness, and non-duality. So rigpa, awareness, and emptiness, and non-duality, these are very subtle. They are not actually objects. So although we can talk of them as experiences or something which can be recollected, and more like the feeling the wind on your face. There is an occurrence, but you can't catch it. What would we do if we could catch it? If we could catch it, it wouldn't be what it says on the tin. Awareness is not a thing. Emptiness is not a thing. Non-duality is not a thing. But of course, when you can read in the text, when the experience of non-thought and emptiness and clarity and rigpa arise, then do this or that. It's as if you could, the name is something that's pointing to something which is achievable or out there waiting for you to get it. But perhaps it's not really like this. So the question continues, yet only when I come out of it am I able to refer to concepts of rigpa, emptiness, and oneness. So that's pretty good, that's pretty clear. When I'm actually present with this, whatever we call it, it's just this. It's nothing appearing as something. And I can't catch it because every time I go to the somethingness, it shows its nothingness. So when I'm out of it, I'm able to think about it, then I'm talking about what I experienced as something out there, the object, and I am the subject, the one able to think about the object. So then continues, I feel I'm missing a permanent recognition of rigpa, and I feel non-conceptual states to be something different. Can you clarify? You cannot have permanent recognition of rigpa, because this would imply that there is somebody recognizing rigpa. For example, if you stand up straight and you feel the line of gravity through you, and then you lean to this one side and feel what that is like, and then lean to the other side. When you're leaning to the side, so that you don't fall over, your muscles are tensing up. So that's quite a strong experience. Now you come back to the middle and you just settle into this alignment. So the weight of your head is going down your spine, through your hips. You are aligned with the flow of gravity. You're not standing in relation to it. When you lean to the side, you feel the power of gravity because you're fighting against it so you don't fall over. But when you are fully aligned, it's present, we might say, but you can't find it, you can't catch it. So although the texts talk about recognizing your true nature, this is a kind of linguistic malformation. It means to recognize, to think about again. A very bad practice to think about anything. It means align yourself, open to the open. The open is always open. When you're preoccupied, when you're caught up, when you're thinking and remembering and planning, all of this is arising because the space is open. But space has been reduced to the function of Cinderella. She's been forced out of the salon down into the kitchen. She is in service to the new family who are enjoying life upstairs. In our lives, we take experiences and winning and losing and enjoyment. All of these things seem very important. We have a cumulative attitude. We're adding things onto ourselves. We're getting something. And the best thing to get is Buddhahood. Please give me your blessing so that I get enlightenment. We have to hear this kind of expression. It's the kindness of the Buddha talking to people who have no sense of non-duality. But when we open to the open, we do the Guru Yoga, we relax and release, and we're here. We're just here. We can't say where here is, because if you want to determine the location of here, you will not be here. So the problem lies in the conceptualization of experience. The texts on Dzogchen are always pointing to self-arising, self-liberating. It's not talking about entities which you can get, but a mode of participation in emptiness, which is completely fresh, full in each moment, and self-emptying. Each moment is this, vast, huge, and gone. It's not a construct. So the problem that's around is having an idea of how the mind should be. So when the questioner says, I feel I'm missing a permanent recognition of rigpa. Rigpa is the intrinsic clarity of the mind. It's the illuminating function of the mind. We can open in that as that, but it's not something you can know because it's not knowable. You can know where you keep your coffee. We know lots of things like that. You can know what it feels like to be in love. That's less tangible, but it has a flavor or a force that, that seems to be self-valid. But awareness is not something you can know. It is the illuminator. So when you're trying to know or get to know your awareness, this is a pattern of energy moving in the illumination of awareness. Awareness is neither the subject nor the object, but it is the illumination of the field of manifestation, which is always changing. And then linked with this issue, he says, and I feel non-conceptual states to be something different. So with this kind of questioning, it's the result of too much thinking. People sometimes feel that Dzogchen is some system entire in itself. But generally, if you find yourself trying to work out what is going on, then you should pray to Padmasambhava. Pray with the tears flowing out of your eyes. I'm lost. I don't know. I'm caught in the conceptual jungle. And you imagine Padmasambhava smiling at you. Rays of light are shining out of his body into you. And he says, don't try so hard. Love me, get close to me, and in me you will find yourself. So the more we recite, for example, the 7-line prayer, and then receive the 4 initiations as white, red, blue, and then mixed lights, we're like having an internal bath, washing out all the sites of separation. So we just have open. Help me, help me. I need you. And then when the body, his body of light and your body, which is now revealed as a body of light, when they merge together, then this merged body shrinks and gets smaller and smaller till it's a tiny dot, which then dissolves in space. In that space, you see your own face, and then you remain in that openness as long as you can without making effort. We find ourselves on the outside of that experience when we fall into duality again. So this is how we enter into the non-dual truth or original presence of how it is. Dzogchen is called the instant path. So this tantric style of guru yoga is not exactly direct, but it leads to the direct moment of experience, of non-experience, if you like. It's just this. You can't catch it. The more you do the practice, the more this is how you are. It is always how you are. If I say to you, be yourself, that's likely to make you feel artificial. Because if you try to be yourself, then you have to construct something to be. So, although there is a lot of tradition in Buddhism of having stages of the path and going through different kinds of experience in these nyam sensation experiences and so on, if you become reliant on checking out how you are doing, it's very difficult to make progress. As Namkhai Norbu used to state, don't enter into judgment. This doesn't just mean judging other people or how they are. It means don't judge what is arising in the practice. You can't judge space. You can judge things. So if we want to secure our sense of how we're doing by entering judgment, we tend to make the subtle gross. And then we're back in our usual world of hopes and fears. So this is difficult because we maybe read books, we learn all these interesting concepts. We think that conceptual development will be a way to arrive someplace. But we live in very sophisticated cultures where excessive conceptualization is massaged into everything which appears. We live, as is often said, in the age of information. Data, you can accumulate so much knowledge about things. So information is kind of like a formation within. Are you informed? From the point of view of Dzogchen, to be informed is to be deformed. What is your natural form? It is the inseparability of the three aspects. Our essence is empty. What arises from this is the clarity or the luminosity of which is the nature of emptiness. Now, this nature is a particular nature. Nature, from its root, gives the sense of something which is born. So nature comes out of the earth. Trees, plants, flowers, and so on. The natural world. But the nature of the mind is to give birth to the unborn. So when we see a rainbow in the sky, we see an unborn that has been born. There wasn't a rainbow. Now there is a rainbow. But you can't find the rainbow. It's there, it stands out, it's different, it's born, it's whoa, ho, ho. It's in the sky. It's born in the sky. It's not born out of the sky. The plant is born out of the earth. We are born out of our mother. But the luminosity or the field of potential of the mind remains within emptiness, the way the rainbow remains within the sky. And within this field of luminosity, or which can, due to causes and circumstances, moment by moment, form itself as particular patterns. These patterns are the all-pervading compassion, because patterns link with other patterns. And this interplay of patterns, which are the manifesting experiences, has not the least atom of separate existence. All is appearing, just like this, but nothing is born into separation and individual existence. So when we observe in the practice, our mind is open and empty, and then many things are arising. This experience of what we would normally call thoughts, feelings, memories, and so on, this is the luminosity or the generosity of the mind. Appearing yet unborn. And then, after some time, we get up from the meditation and we move around. Our body is an apparition in a world of apparitions. The apparitions have qualities, but no separate existence. Just as the thunderstorm has enormous energy, but is free of any kind of entity. Because our form is in ceaseless communication with the field of which it is always a part. We are the world moving in the world. We are the breath of the world. So we take on different shapes according to activity of the body, of the voice, of the mind. The moods which arise for us affect our posture. With sadness, we collapse a little bit. With happiness, we tend to expand a little bit. We are pulsation moving in the field of pulsation. So if we stay with the inseparability of these three aspects, and we do this by entering the practice again and again and again, and not judging our practice, not thinking about whether we are getting someplace, because the only place we want to be and where we can be is just here. Then this commitment to relaxed, easy practice will protect us from the disease of conceptualizing that which is beyond thought. So that brings us to the end for today. And we have a couple of weekends for the autumn period and a couple more of these question and answers. So if you have any questions, please send them in. And I hope life is moving easily and joyfully for you. So thank you to our translators this evening, Maria, Kati, Bartek, and Milton. And goodbye. Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao, everyone.
Ciao.
Bye bye.
So much.
Obrigada, Milton.
Everybody.
Milton.
Voices.
Thank you, James. Obrigada,
Ciao.
Milton.